Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and I welcome you today to the Breaking Free Show. It's a pleasure to have you join us. And once again, I want to thank you for being here because I know that your time is precious and you're spending it with us. So thank you so much because we have a great show in store. I'm excited. And before we get on with the show, I want to say hi to Amnon.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm just fine.
Good.
You like that weather outside? No.
I have to think of what it is.
Yeah, I know.
It's cloudy and a little drizzly,
Oh,
right?
it's raining?
It was before.
Okay, I didn't go out
I
today.
think it was before.
It's I said to Kathy, I said, if not for the leaves and the temperature, it looks like winter.
It does look like winter. It does. It's a
But
little.
it's okay.
There's a little chill in the air, even though it's very humid, and
Yep.
my hair frizzes even more. This feels like a little chill. But anyway, on with the show. So, again, if this is your first time visiting us, welcome, welcome. If it is your 100th time visiting us, welcome, welcome. And I just want you to know that during the show, you are always welcome to call in and chat with us anytime you like. The phone number, if you have a phone, is 919-518-9773, or you can join us on Skype, on computers 2, that's the number 2, K Voice, and you'll come in on Skype Voice. And you are also welcome to join our chat. So near the video, if you put your name, whatever name you want to be called, go on in there and ask us questions, comment, whatever you like. And today's going to be the kind of day that we really do encourage you to call in because we have a psychic reader, advisor, intuit, and a really interesting intellectual woman that's going to join us. And her name is Monti Scribner. So welcome.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. Thank you for inviting me,
It's
Marilyn.
my pleasure. It's nice to have you.
Thanks.
So tell us about Monty.
All right. I'm the kind of person who I would term a seeker. I have always wanted to know from an early age what is life all about and why are we here? And I wasn't getting answers. For years and years, I was not getting answers. But I will tell you, and the people listening today probably can identify with this. We are being guided, and regardless of what your perception is, there's a reason for every one of our experiences in this life. And I've learned that quite from an early age. I was in a family situation where my mother was very dominating and emotionally abusive. And as a result, I became very introverted and retreated into myself. And it caused me to question even more and read and try to understand and also to sense into people's energy so that I can anticipate their behavior. This was a very good skill to learn. And over the years, I've developed it even more.
So you're saying that because you grew up in an abusive house and
Yes.
you wanted to understand your mother more?
I wanted to anticipate her behavior so that I could avoid it. And then I started anticipating the behavior and sensing into other people's energy. So that was the beginning of my
And
path.
how old were you when you started on this journey?
It was from birth because I knew from an very early age that I needed to protect myself.
Did
So,
you really?
a very early age, needed to protect myself.
Were
yes.
you an only child or did you have other
I
brothers?
was
and
not. Luckily, I had a brother born 2 years after I was, and who deflected some of the attention away from me, which gave me the ability to be by myself and to avoid the family situation as much as possible.
So you had this from early on. You had
Yes.
this knowing
Yes.
that something that you could do something. You had some control. That
I
you could do something.
From early on, I would sense into people's energy. I was extremely sensitive, and that I used that ability to navigate my life. On the other hand, I also did not speak very much because it was better for me to protect myself, but it was much easier not to express myself.
So what was the first book you read?
The first book,
Yeah.
Shirley MacLaine, Out on a Limb.
Oh, as a child.
Oh, as a child, I would say Shirley MacLaine, Out on a Limb is the book that started me on the path to where I am today. As a child, I read many books like Nancy Drew and Jerry Ames and everything else, but it really wasn't until after I was an adult and I read Shirley MacLaine's book that I started on the path. that I am on
So
today.
so I have lots of questions, and I know somebody is on the line, but we're going to get back to this idea of what Monty just said, that what'd you say, every experience?
Yes, every experience contributes to and shapes who we are, who we become.
Okay, well, we know that, but you said it, but there was something, so every experience we have is some psychic, some
Is guiding is guidance.
is
And most
guidance.
people don't recognize that every experience, every interaction is actually reflecting guidance. We are receiving guidance at every moment.
Okay, so hold that thought. So, hello? Hello? Somebody on the line? Okay. If you would like to call in, please do. And if we don't get to you right away, excuse me, we will. Just hold on and we will.
Let me get in there.
Okay.
The person is online. Somebody just called in.
Okay.
This is not the place to sit and listen. You need to go to the website to watch and to listen. Unless you really don't want to talk, don't call on the phone. So, did you want to make a comment? They're gone.
Okay. All right. Well, please, if you are interested in talking to Monty, please feel free to call in and we'll get to you. Okay. So, I had an experience one day, and I started telling this to Monty before the show started, and she started giving me such great information that I said, hold off, because I don't want to just have that information for myself. I want to share it. So last week, I think, or a couple of weeks ago, I had an experience which I was like, oh my God. Usually at night, I will fall asleep before my husband. But this particular evening, I did fall asleep. And usually sometimes when he's asleep and he falls asleep with his glasses and the TV on, I'll wake up because I'm a very light sleeper. And I'll very carefully remove his glasses and find the remote and shut it off and put it on my side of the bed. And the next morning, I'll give it to him. Well, this one particular morning, I woke up and there was his glasses and the remote. And in that moment, I was like shocked because I knew I didn't do it. And it wasn't, later on in the day where I would have had time to say, well, maybe I did it in my sleep, blah, 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 blah. No, I didn't. I know I didn't. I know those glasses were there and I didn't put them there, and there was nobody else in the house that could have done it. So what's your take?
You are being, this is a very powerful message for you about the fact that you are a multidimensional being. There are many aspects of you that are calling to you, and it's helping you to identify and open yourself up to the fact that there are other aspects of you and possibly beings in parallel dimensions that are interacting with you or would like to interact with you. Because you are very conscious and highly evolved, you can determine when you are ready to open yourself up to these new extra dimensional experiences. All of these things can be made available to us. We have to be ready for them.
So these beings,
Yes.
These are only me beings?
You're meeting yourself in other ways. We are actually, if you understand the concept of a hologram,
Yeah.
we are actually experiencing a hologram. And that is, everything is bouncing off of us, and it all really is you. You are meeting yourself in all situations. I know that's hard to wrap your brain around, but it's helping you to learn about yourself. And also, you're connecting with mass consciousness at the same time. Let me know if I'm getting too technical.
No, go ahead.
And as you do that, your experience is contributing to mass consciousness, towards the evolution of mass consciousness.
So these other beings,
Yes.
are they more evolved than I am?
Some of them may be, because it depends on the different levels and of the parallel lives
Yeah,
that
keep
you're
going.
experiencing.
Okay. And so when you talk about, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you talk about this kind of stuff much, all the time?
Well, I have to say that it's all reflected in the book. I wrote a book called Not What We Appear to Be, New Perspectives for Conscious Living. In that book, I have received messages from higher intelligence, and they are the ones that access to higher wisdom is how I've learned and been educated in our multidimensionality, how we are humans are actually evolving to become much more than we appear to be.
So these other beings.
Yes.
And I guess we all have this thing. Right?
Yes,
we
we
all
do.
have these other beings. So some of them are more evolved, and they know that I exist.
Oh yeah.
Or they know we each other exist.
Yes.
The ones that know, what do they do with us?
Well, it's not what they do with you. They're connecting with you energetically to learn from you, and you learn from them. So it's a reciprocal arrangement. Believe it or not, on some levels, you're also receiving from them.
And you have had these personal experiences yourself, obviously.
Well, the way it happened for me is I started putting aside my ego, because the ego is the main obstacle to really your consciousness expansion. It restricts your ability to open yourself up, and in the meantime, you're judging yourself, you're sabotaging yourself, you believe that you are living in this three-dimensional reality when actually it is multi-dimensional. There's so many other things occurring that we can't see or understand.
And the benefit of using this other dimension, other reality, what does that mean for us as humans?
It means that we are actually on the edge of new understanding of consciousness and understanding how humans are evolving.
Are we evolving?
We, believe it or not,
I believe we are,
despite our best effort to sabotage ourselves, we are evolving. In fact, we are changing on a minute-to-minute basis. We are even when you go to sleep at night, something is happening subconsciously in your dreams, or even if you don't remember your dreams, things are happening. You're being assisted and guided, and when you wake up in the morning, chances are you're not the same person that you were when you went to sleep. In fact, I've had many interesting experiences when I wake up in the morning that, where I get an idea, and maybe you have too, where you wake up and you say, oh, well, I didn't think about this, but now, and this happened to me, I'm not supposed to eat meat anymore. Can you imagine? I woke up one morning and I had this message, you're not supposed to eat meat anymore. And I thought to myself, oh, well, okay. And do you know, I never craved meat again. I have no desire to eat meat, and I haven't had it since that occurred.
And did you love meat?
Yeah, I ate meat all the time.
So how do you use this other reality? How would you tell me to use this other?
Okay, well, it's really, the fact is that your life experiences are always speaking to you. And so even you and I, who having this conversation today, we're learning from each other. And you're giving me something, and I'm giving you something. So it's a constant learning experience. When we think we're stuck, our negative emotions start pinging us. We start having bad feelings because your body speaks to you too. And when you are feeling good, things are flowing smoothly and you're in the flow of life. You're in the life stream. If you're feeling badly about yourself or any experience, that's a message to you. You need to look at something. And that's some personal work that needs to be done.
So in working with this other dimension, what would I do to bring this other dimension or myself closer together?
The first thing I would do is identify for yourself, where am I feeling resistant to having this experience? Am I afraid? Well,
let's say I'm not afraid. What do I do with
if you're not afraid, I would just say, I'm opening myself up to this, and be open to the messages you receive and the impressions, because as I said, we are multisensory. You may not hear a voice speaking to you. You can get it in many different ways.
Yeah, and I get it in many different
Do
ways.
you?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, everything gives off information.
Exactly.
So, I mean, everything around us is speaking.
Yes.
So I just naturally know that.
Good.
So I just, listen to whenever I feel like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And
yeah.
that's our choice. We can feel like it, or we don't have to feel. It doesn't make me crazy. It doesn't like, oh my God, I'm like all over. It doesn't.
Right.
If I decide to, whatever I decide to tune into, now it doesn't mean I'm getting all the information every time I choose to tune in. But what I did get from this experience prior to what Monty said was when that happened, I realized that something was listening to me. Something was listening to my life because otherwise his glasses would have been broken.
There you go.
And so I knew that I was some entity was listening to me. And if that's the case, that was the message I got. If that's the case, well then Marilyn, you need to talk. I'm getting a couple of messages at once. I'm getting Marilyn listen more and Marilyn talk more or ask more. So it's because you can't get one without the other. So I'm getting both those messages.
And also sense. Use your body to sense into it. What is it? How does it make you feel? Yeah.
Interesting. So listen, please feel free to call in 919-518-9773, or you can connect with us on Skype on computers 2K voice, and you can certainly take part in our chat. You're welcome to join us, and I see that there are several people in the chat, and please feel free to ask questions, whatever you like. You know, this is really great because I'm sitting next to a woman that I will tell you I'm confident in, who has information to share. And I wouldn't say that just nonchalantly, and I'm confident that because you seem so natural with this.
Thank you.
And like it's such a part of you.
Yes, it is.
It is, isn't it? That
Yes.
makes a difference, I think.
Don't
you think?
I live it. This is my life now, and it means so much to me to help others who are working through their issues. And I've met a lot of powerful people. You never cease needing guidance. And when you feel that you were called to ask for help, then that also means something.
What does that mean?
In other words, it means that you can get a message or assistance from others. We are not islands, and we can also learn so much from each other. Just as people listening today are learning from this.
And see, this is where the ego comes in or goes out. Because if you are an island, that means you're living with your ego. If you are not asking, it means you're living with your ego.
Good.
Right? So when you are willing to ask and you're willing to connect and not feel as though you know it all, or you're afraid to let somebody know you don't know it all, then you're open to higher levels of information.
Thank you. And also, I'd like to talk a little bit about karmic patterns.
Yeah, go right ahead.
And that is, I experienced multiple karmic patterns from an early age because I met people who had the same personality traits as my mother over and over again. Even if after I moved out of the house, one of my first bosses, same personality, dominating, and I have to say, not a very nice person. And I was so mild-mannered and allowed those people with those dominating personalities to overpower me and make me feel miserable. It took those interactions multiple times with different people exhibiting the same personality traits before I sort of broke. I couldn't take it anymore, and I had to release myself. So what happens is the universe has very interesting ways of pushing us to the point where we have to make a choice, where we have to change. And if you resist that, if you're getting messages and you know in your heart that something is true, but you can't bring yourself to make a change, you'll just keep getting pushed until you have no choice.
So what is your take on free will?
On free will? I believe that we are all fulfilling a destiny. We all have a path and a mission in life, and we are all following that. And regardless of the choices we make, we are all going to achieve the purpose that we're meant to achieve in this lifetime. So we have free will to make certain choices, but in the end, we're all going to arrive at the destination we're meant to arrive at.
So here's a little bit of my take, which I think is kind of similar. So there's like this path, like this container
Yes.
that I am traveling in.
Yes.
And I can either go, listen and get to the end in a good way, in alignment,
Yes.
or I can get there crazy,
Exactly.
right? Or maybe part of my thing is not getting there until the next lifetime.
It's possible. I think you can make a crazy choice, a choice that takes you down a path that is very uncomfortable, where you have some bad experiences until you sort of get knocked around enough,
Right.
so you get back on the right path.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the thing about this karmic, what did you call it? Karmic
Pattern.
Pattern. So
Mhm.
people are going to have different karma,
Yes.
and we will attract
Those
those
experiences.
experiences. So the universe is going to say, "Oh, you're not getting it yet. I got to speed it up a little.
Yeah.
You're not. I mean, this is your destiny. If you're not getting it, I'm going to speed up those karmic patterns coming from other people or yourself or things around you, experiences. Because honestly, it's not just people that have a karmic pattern, but I think it's things around us that have some kind of a karmic pattern. I
Right.
don't know what you call it. Is that what you would call it?
I think it is our environment
Mm-hmm.
contributes to supporting that experience. Just like sometimes you'll decide that you need to move. Here's an example. I was living in Charleston, South Carolina, and I thought I wanted to downsize my house and stay in Charleston. I had lived there for 12 years. I had wonderful friends, and I could not sell my house. Could not sell it for the life of me. We reduced the price. Nobody was making me an offer. Speaking of one morning I wake up 6 months later and I realize I'm not meant to stay in Charleston, South Carolina. I need to move to Raleigh. Okay? As soon as that came to me, I changed my direction, and the universe picked me up and took me to Raleigh, North Carolina, and that's why I live here. So that's also a karma. That's also how karma contributed to my experience. In other words, I could not sell my house until I
Decided
the
where you were going to
guidance.
go.
got the guidance that I was not meant to stay in Charleston.
So you'll get a piece of your guidance.
Yes.
And until you are ready to
Yes.
get the rest of the guidance, it's not that the first piece is wrong. It's just
Right.
that you haven't gotten this heard or been open or ready
Yeah.
to hear the second. And it's your choice, or it's the universe choice.
You may think you know your direction, but if you are encountering resistance, there's a reason for that. And sometimes it takes a while to figure that out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me remind you all, 919-518-9773. And then if you're in God knows where in the world, please call us on computers, that's plural, the number 2K voice, that's computers 2K voice, or you are welcome to join our chat, and there's several people in there. So I'd love to hear from anyone that wants to call in and ask a personal question about, so the kinds of, go ahead, what am I saying? Because you got a smile
I was
on
going
your
to
face.
say that for those of you who are listening, I have the ability, all you have to do is give me your name and ask me a question, and I do have the ability to tune in and sense into the situation and give you guidance and feedback. And so I'd be happy to do that.
So any situation.
Any situation. Yes.
So I'm going to take advantage of her if you don't. You got a question? Okay. Whoever's on that chat, call in. I'm going to start.
Okay.
So you know who I am.
Yes.
And let's start with my book.
I'm glad you asked that question because I have to tell you that I did a little tuning in earlier before we started this. And I think your book is a stepping stone. What I got is your book is a stepping stone. You have very deep roots into journalism. And you had already informed me before we started talking that you have plans to write more books. What I'm getting is something for you to consider, and that is historical journalism. Linking the history of the situation into whatever it is that you're writing about. You never thought about that, huh?
Oh, funny you should mention that because last week, right? Amnon's laughing. We had a great show last week, and I encourage everybody to go back and listen. We had Dr. Kate Clifford Larson, who is a historian, and she writes books and articles and so forth about women in history. And she wrote about Rosemary Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fascinating. So, anyway, I was fascinated by her last week. So, you're saying then that, like my idea, my books are called In Just One Afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
listening into the hearts of different people, situations. So, the first one is men. It's not published yet, it's on its verge of getting edited. The next one is In Just One Afternoon, listening to the hearts of twins. And then I'm going to do millennials, divorce. I'm just going on and on. So how are you saying I should tie in history?
I'm saying that when you look at them in current time frame, compare it to historically, to the development of our consciousness and where we are today versus history. And that's up to you, how you connect history to the subject matter. But the next thing I'm thinking is that there's another topic that you haven't come up with yet that will be that will much more easily fit into that framework for you, and you'll be really excited about it. Historical, yeah. I think when it hits you, I think you're really going to get excited about the topic and the connection between what's happening now and the history of that subject.
Well, and when you say history,
yes.
So when I look at things, I think I know we're evolving. I mean, historically, obviously, if we're evolving, then I believe we're changing. Historically, I think things looked a certain way. If we go back and we look at the way, any population, any culture, any group, but I believe we're going in the right direction, even politically. And I won't go into all that, but I think there's a shakeup, one way or the other. People are voicing more opinions, and I think so. Okay, oops, I could go on, and I'm going to. So, but let me. Hello. Oh, okay. Hello.
Hey, Marilyn, this is Ann.
Hey, Ann.
Hey, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was trying to figure out how to do this.
That's okay. Glad you're here.
Yeah, I had a question. I have recently, in the last few years, started an energy healing business, which I've been doing actually for 30 years, but just started a business, and also officiating weddings and leading guided meditations. And I wanted to see if that seems to be a good path for me.
Okay, you're doing what you love. You're following your heart. You are a light worker. You're one of the pioneers that is the seed people, so to speak, on the earth today to sort of create a path for those that come after you. When you open yourself to guidance, you'll allow yourself to reach into different directions and that you haven't considered yet. It's what I see is an expansion of your interests beyond where you are at the moment. And when I say that, what comes up for you?
I don't know. I'm excited.
Good.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready.
Good. And also, do you have, how about family members? What's going on with your family members?
I don't have many family members left.
Okay.
I have a sister and brother and one aunt and uncle.
Uh-huh.
But my parents died when I was young, before I was 30.
Okay.
And I recently lost an aunt, but
what about your sister?
My sister is fine, I think.
Okay, but have you been including her in what's going on in your life?
Yes, she was my first renewal of vows with my new service with officiating the ceremony.
Nice. And is she interested in learning some of the skills that you have been applying in your life?
She's a few years from retirement.
Okay.
She has been to one of my guided meditations and seemed to enjoy it.
Does she live near you?
She's about 30 minutes away, yes.
Okay, what I'm seeing is the two of you working together.
Oh,
it's something for you to consider, bringing her into your circle and you're sort of pulling her along, so to speak. And there will be it will be very gratifying for you to be able to mentor her in that way. So just it doesn't have to be anything, sudden. Just a gentle way of pulling her into your circle.
Now that you mentioned, the first thing that comes to mind is she is one of the most, um, she loves animals more than anybody I know.
Uh huh.
She's raised a child, but she is so connected to her horses and her dogs, and it's amazing. She always has been that way, and I can see that being a way for her to venture into this.
That sounds wonderful. And also, you will learn from that too because you'll share that. It will be an exchange.
Right. And I also have a brother, but I don't know if this is something that he would be interested in or not.
I'm not getting the same
Okay.
interest that your sister will have from your brother.
Okay, great. I'm gonna start nudging her. Thank you.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure. And do you have any other questions before we say goodbye?
No, I think that's it. I do um several types of energy healing, but to me, I feel that all energy is similar and it's just whatever the person needs. So that seems to work for me well.
So just go ahead before you go. Just tell everybody, like, Ann's a good friend of mine, so
Oh.
I'm glad she called in. So just tell everybody, like, your website or something. Go ahead.
Okay, my website is omnigirl.net, OMNIGIRL.net, and I do meditations here locally at a place in Cary every week, and then I do occasional other events, and I do sessions here if anybody's interested for energy healing. So I thank you, Marilyn,
You're
and I
welcome.
thank you, Monty. This is great.
It's great
It makes
meeting
me
you.
happy.
Thank you for calling.
Bye.
It's make
All right. Anybody else call in, please feel free. 919-518-9773 or Computers 2K Voice on Skype, and by all means take part in our chat. Okay. So how do you get visions?
In multiple ways. In this case, I actually saw her sister. I could see that there was a connection with her family member. And so the more she validated that, the more information I was able to get. So a lot of times we'll get information in a sort of a package. You'll get a picture in your mind, and you can interpret from that picture what the message is. And a lot of people get that.
And you interpret from the picture too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But when you're interpreting from a picture, are you also feeling something because you know that your interpretation is like is right?
Yeah, although sometimes I can sense into the person's emotions, and positive or negative, and what the situation is regarding that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the picture, it's also an emotional connection.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you say historically for me,
Yes.
are you saying historically being last year or historically being like 50 years ago?
I'm thinking the 19th century, 20th century, and but more what I'm thinking is you're going to see a relationship between the subject matter and how it evolved historically.
I see.
And then you'll have insights related to that. And that correlation is going to make it really interesting to the reader too.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Journalism.
Oh, definitely.
Because the thing is, I don't struggle with speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with writing.
That's interesting because I get a strong vibe from you having to do with journalism. So it might not just, I would say, sort of experiment with it. It could be that you're speaking into a tape recorder.
Yeah, that I've been told to do that.
You have?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. So what other, like, what's the most extraordinary? So you spoke about multiple dimensions, and so what else is out here that
What
we
else
should
is
pay?
out here?
Yeah, like magic. What else should we pay attention to?
I say the most important thing to pay attention to is how you are navigating your own life, how it's making you feel and what you feel you are being called to do, how you feel about it. We are we are being guided. One of the things that is really important is attempting to suspend judgment regarding any of our experiences or any of the people in our lives. Right now, there's a lot of polarity. That's how we learn in this life school, having to do with polarities. Good, we determine what's good and what's bad, what's right and what's wrong, what's black and what's white, and that's how people learn. But on the other hand, the way to really transcend this reality is to neutralize those polarities, to be able to accept the good and the bad, the right, what you perceive as right and wrong, and to see them in a way as equal. Because when you can achieve a non-polarized train of thought, that's when you're really achieving transcendence of the 3D reality.
And that would mean what?
You're ready to go. That means you're helping others. That you have done it in a way so that you can be a role model, a mentor, someone who is offering something to others to help them along on their path too.
And so, for you, let's say, having this awareness, how does this guide your life?
Well, I have to say that I have a deep love for humanity, and a very strong drive and passion to help others using the tools and the abilities that I have gained in the course of my life. And I've been very fortunate to have these experiences that have guided me and to learn what I have. So I use that to help others.
Okay, so, and there's a question out on the chat, which I'm going to get to. The thing that you just said, because I also see good, like everywhere.
Wonderful.
Even, I see good. I see good in human nature. I see it better good than not. And I think what I'm hearing you say is when you do that, then you can see, hear, feel, notice, listen on so many different levels that you get more information, or you are able to tune into,
Yes.
more of the dimension, the magic, the whatever.
But on the other hand, I'm not saying that if you have bad feelings, you should resist them.
No.
So if something's bothering you, that's a message your body is giving you, or your brain, or whatever, that you need to pay attention to that and decide what is going on,
Well, it's
and
a
how
message.
you can neutralize it. Yeah, it's a message.
But if you don't have the other part,
Yes.
then you cannot neutralize you can't even understand
Right.
what the uncomfortable negative feeling is about, because then everything is negative.
Yeah.
And
And some people live that way.
And some people live that way.
Yeah.
So here's Kathy. She said, I feel that after 60 years, I haven't found my niche. Any recommendations on how I might find my path?
What I get from you, Kathy, is you actually have found your path, and you're providing comfort to, believe it or not, your path doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be, sometimes we have this idea that we have to be stars, or we have to do something significant in this world. But on the other hand, it's people like you who provide balance and reassurance to others, and comfort. So can I ask, can you respond to me? Can you relate to that, Kathy?
All right, Kathy, you need to write in this comment, and then we can relay it to Marty. So you can get all that without knowing anything else about Kathy.
Yes. We'll see if Kathy agrees with me.
And your question to Kathy is?
Can you relate to what I just said, Kathy?
That she offers comfort.
Yes.
Already
Yeah.
offers comfort. Okay, well, let's see if she responds. I mean, and the saga continues. Because we want to know what Kathy's going to say.
Yes, I would
Right.
like to get Kathy to respond, and then we can continue the conversation.
Okay. So again, call in, feel free, anything. So is this unethical, but or can you share like any particular thing that you've noticed after working with somebody? Can you share anything like that? Something.
Where a lot
yeah.
of it is validating people's own impressions and how they feel about their lives and what they're afraid to move forward. A lot of people are afraid to take certain steps in their lives, and they're unsure about what choices to make. And I can support and let people know what the options are regarding those choices. Should I take this job? Well, I can look at it and say, well, if you take this job, this is what I see as a result, or
And you
not.
can get real specific.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get not ethereal but
Mm-hmm.
you can get real. You can hone in and be real specific.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Kathy says yes.
Kathy says yes. You can relate to what I said, Kathy.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm so glad. I see you have a very big heart and a caring person, and people would be magnetized to you for that reason. And so, in terms of feeling that there's something else, that is a big piece of your puzzle, your life pattern, your puzzle, the lessons that you came in to learn. That you have that, you have that energy that you're offering to others.
So now, knowing that, is there any suggestions that you can make for something specific that she can use this gift, this energy with?
Right. I think Kathy has a circle, and I think extending that circle and also extending the conversation with others to empower others, to support and empower others in terms of their life path. And I think that would be very rewarding. That's a very rewarding way to go. So again, it doesn't have to be something big. It's just taking a step.
So you're saying then that Kathy could take her ability and use it for the circle of friends that she
Right.
already has to help them.
And extend it to others
Now what
by
about
networking.
Now what about if that's something she's already doing?
Kathy, are you already doing that?
Let's find out. Let's see if Kathy's already doing that. So who is Kathy, let us know if you're already doing that. And any other question you have that's specific. We'll work on getting really specific. Who is you mentioned Shirley MacLaine, and I
Yeah.
loved her.
Yes.
Who else, who's your role model? Or is there somebody that's doing work similar to what you're doing or even a little different that you would look to and go, they're just tapped in?
Well, I'll tell you, I really admire Carolyn Mace. Her book, Why People Don't Heal, was very, very pivotal for me. I listened to the tape of that book, years ago, and it really gave me insight into how people behave and why they behave that way.
Mm-hmm.
I also read her book about the soul, and she has a couple rules for living. One is make no judgments. The second one, have no expectations. I've been trying to apply those rules for years, and it can take a lifetime but if you start being conscious when you're making a judgment, that definitely makes an impact on how you're living.
She says that if I remember correctly, that we've made it way too complicated, and we don't need all the bells and the whistles, to tap in.
Yes.
It's a lot easier than we've given tapping in credit for, and here's the thing: a lot of people or different people need a different tool, be it music, be it dim lights, whatever your vehicle is, that's okay. But then it's not. If you don't have it, you can't do it.
Right. She's very inspirational.
She really is.
Yeah.
She really is. So Kathy says, okay. She says no. She doesn't. Okay, so she doesn't have something specific.
Okay.
So, do you see something specific that she can use her talent for?
I recommend that Kathy start some conversations with like-minded women and invite them to join her, on an intermittent basis to start discussing those things that are dear and important to her. And what you'll find is that those people can relate to you, and you can grow together as a result of that. And
So-
it will also feed your soul.
And Kathy says, I work with children and I do help and guide them.
Wonderful. So this is an extension of the working with children, working with women in your age group or around your age group to make that connection, an adult connection.
So here's something else I think we should explore, especially with Kathy bringing up what she's bringing up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes what a Monty will say can be a shock because you hadn't thought about it, you're not on that path. But sometimes you are already living your gift.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't seem as shocking or when somebody shares with you, or when you already know that a passion is already your gift, or your gift is already your passion. And we tend to look outside of that thinking there's more.
Okay.
So that there's so here's Kathy, and I would be curious that why is this not why is there still not fulfillment in this? Why is she looking for more?
Okay, so Kathy is looking at well, it's not necessarily Kathy, but everyone, we're all looking outside ourselves in order to get reassurance and validation when the actual experience is meant to be learning about ourselves and having our experience with ourselves.
Right.
You are the most important relationship that you can have in this lifetime. So it's all about aligning yourself with your soul, to make yourself feel better about yourself and to feel good in who you are.
Right.
Feeling confident in who you are. And that's when you start working with yourself and identifying where is the resistance? Why am I not? And listen, there is no blame associated with this.
So do you hear a resistance? Do you see a resistance in this with Kathy?
I'm not feeling a resistance. I'm just feeling like a gentle expansion of energy for Kathy that she is capable of doing very easily, and I think it will enhance her life experience.
So an expansion.
Yes.
To expand who she's being a guide for.
Yes, her personal expression.
Her personal expression.
Yeah.
So then, in other words, taking it out of, let's say how does she describe what she's doing? She says she works with children.
Mm-hmm.
So let's assume she's in a classroom.
Yes.
So taking it out of the classroom
Right.
and expanding what you're already doing because there's satisfaction in that.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So,
mhm.
okay, so that's the key. Sometimes it's not, it may be just like you're saying, expand where you are, with whom you're doing something with. Like when you said to me, I'm doing these books, now take it a little bit into historical. So whatever it is, so Kathy's already doing this, so now it's about like maybe getting a circle of women together and trying something new.
And the other thing is, you will get an idea and you will brush it aside. I should do this. Oh, maybe I should do that. Oh, no, I shouldn't do that. Well, guess what? You'll keep getting that idea until you take it seriously. You are getting those ideas because it's something you need to look at, something you need to follow up on. So don't brush aside those things that just don't seem valid for you. Give it some thought.
Yeah, and what I know about ideas, which is a fairly new concept for me, but one that I have gravitated to and held on to is Elizabeth Gilbert's idea of ideas. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love. Have you seen that book?
Yes.
Okay, so she's written a book called Big Magic, and she says that ideas are an entity. And we're talking, now there's all kinds of entities around. So it's an entity of its own. It comes to you, and it says, okay, here I am. Do you want me? Do you want to do something with this idea? If you say yes, it'll stay with you if you work the idea. If you reject it by your ego and you're saying, whatever your ego is saying about fear, you can't do it, I'm not good enough, blah, 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 it's going to go find somebody else who is willing to take on that idea. That's what she says. What do you think?
I agree, but sometimes it takes a leap of faith. Sometimes, you're feeling some resistance to that. You're getting a message. There's something you need to do. Even you need to call someone. You need to email, contact someone about something. You need
Right.
to create something or write a book, and you're feeling so resistance. Believe it or not, all you have to do is say yes. And when you say yes, you start receiving the support. You sense it. The energy supports that, and you can move forward with it. Notice how many times you say no versus yes every day.
Right. I have this thing called, I say, you say to me, do you wanna? I don't even ask what to do. Do you wanna? I'll say yes.
Good.
I mean, yeah, because, and I've gotten myself into, well, I don't know about trouble, but I tend to say yes pretty quickly.
Uh-huh.
And my impulse is to say yes.
Good. That's excellent.
It
Yeah.
is. So, Kathy, if you have something more specific that you want to share or ask, I would do that. What do you think about? I would like to know, what do you think about what Monty is saying about taking your gift and expanding it into something else in that awareness? So let us know what you think about that. So I want to ask you to share about your book. We have more time, but I want you to
Okay.
share about your book, your website, your
Thank you.
readings, all those things.
Okay, so my website is formulasforliving.com, and the 4 is the number 4. That website I created in September 2013, and that's when I started to blog and ask questions, ask the universal questions that I've been carrying in my mind all these years, trying to figure out what the heck are we doing here on this planet? What is life all about? And I asked every possible question, and then I put my hands on the keyboard and put my ego aside and started receiving very unexpected answers. And so I'm really excited to be sharing this with people, like-minded people who are interested in the different topics I've been interested in. And you can view my blog, it's on my website, and other information about me and the readings that I give.
So what do we, in a nutshell, what do we hear about?
Oh my God. Well, here's the thing. What I've come to believe is that we humans are, as I said, multisensory, multidimensional, but as an extension of that, thousands of years ago, we were actually engineered by higher intelligence. And I know that might be a mind-blowing statement to some people, but as I have come to work with these concepts, I've come to believe it's true. And that higher intelligence, I'm not saying they're all powerful and all knowing. I'm saying they engineered us in order to learn about themselves, in order to try to work out their own issues and problems. And as a result, we carry karmic patterns that are associated with polarity and with they have been trying to resolve themselves. And so each one of us comes into this lifetime with a set of life lessons and karmic patterns. From the time we're born, we have come in with these lessons that we need to learn. And just as I talked about the fact that I kept meeting my mother, that's an example of a karmic pattern that I needed to resolve in this lifetime. I asked about predestination. I asked about free will. All kinds of, I asked about Atlantis. I cover a range of amazing, very interesting topics. And I hope that, and I expect the book to be out this fall. So I hope you will keep watching my website and read it and give me some feedback. Let me know what you think.
So Kathy says, thank you, Kathy, so much, because this has been very interesting. I have been playing with the idea of pursuing becoming involved with energy healing, but haven't gotten serious about it.
I feel the love that you emanate, Kathy. You would be. I believe that energy feeling is a good first step for you. I think you will definitely open up if you haven't already. Sense that and be supporting others by practicing it. So I think that's wonderful. That's a wonderful choice for you.
And anything specific, like where to put it.
Have you tried Reiki yet, Kathy? That's a really good first step if you haven't tried it.
All right, and then and as far as teaching or sharing or anything like that.
Right. Well, I do believe the people that you will meet as she pursues these interests are going, if you resonate, if you get a sense that this is someone you want to get to know, that's guidance. Following your guidance, and the more you do that, the more you'll trust it.
So, in other words, get on the path, start reaching out, start talking about doing this, start talking about being this person, being this energy, being this healer, and see what comes. Is that what you?
Know that you are it.
You are it.
You are it. Know that you can emanate that now, today, and then expand. As you learn, you just continue to expand your consciousness, what you know, and feeling better and better about yourself because of it.
So when the information that you are given as a
Yes.
psych, as an intuitive,
Right.
as an advisor, at what level? I mean, they're coming through you. The information is coming through you at a certain whatever, but it's not. Oh, it can be any. It's the information. It's not the end information. It can be information anywhere. Like you're not saying this is what you have to do.
I'm just making suggestions, but we are all connected, and that's why I can connect with Kathy, sense into her energy, and tell her, relate to her this way, because we are really all connected. The 3D reality is an illusion, and we are all one in the end. We are all connected, and the more people that recognize that and contribute to being that way, using that as our touchstone, the more empowered we will be.
So I'm doing a talk on Wednesday for the state conference, the North Carolina State Conference for Human Resources.
Oh, cool.
And you know what my topic is?
What?
The invisible lines of connection between all of us.
How perfect.
Now I'm getting the chills. That's my
perfect.
talk because babies feel it.
Yes.
I mean, as soon as a baby is born, there's this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they can do it, right, or not, but I mean, this invisible line is between all of us.
You know what? It's almost like an underground. There's an underground of people that already know this, and yet and then there's this barrier. There's some people who have broken through to understand this, and others who aren't ready yet. Now, there's no judgment related to where people are on their path. No judgment. But the more you can translate that message and open people up to the possibility, the better it is.
So here's the thing. You say no judgment. If I was going to carry judgment,
Right.
then I wouldn't be going out there talking about this, learning about it myself, because the only way I can get into it deeper, is by talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I need people along the way who don't get it yet.
Yes. You're going to encounter people that are going to look at you with a blank stare and not understand.
Right, because that way I get to talk about it more, right? I get to say, whatever, ask a question, whatever it is. And we're all doing that, or we all can do that with no matter what you do. I don't care if you're at home cooking bread. You know, the more you share it to somebody who's not cooking bread, the better you get at cooking bread.
Yes.
So, do you have a question?
No.
Okay, I'm not just sitting here laughing. Why?
No, I mean, the more you spend time with somebody who is cooking,
the more you learn.
The more you learn.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
Or sometimes the more you spend with somebody who's not doing it, the more you learn because you're teaching.
Yeah.
And so it all works,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it does.
So any final...
Kathy has an answer.
Oh, she says yes. Oh, this is what she's looking... Oh,
She did
this
Reiki
is... Okay, so
Oh,
she did
Reiki
Reiki.
has... Okay.
and Lahochi.
Lahochi.
Wonderful, Kathy. I'm glad to hear it. Okay, then you know you can emanate, you can feel the energy, you can work it, and you're on your path. I've got it. The love is, you're spreading the love. That's what's important.
Wow. Okay, so any final words for our audience?
My final words are that just be conscious that you are being guided, and sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we think we're all by ourselves, but there is no separation. We are being guided and supported, and trust in that. Trust in the guidance that you receive.
Fabulous. And any final word for me?
Thank you for inviting me. I've enjoyed it so much. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you for being
And
here.
you know, I took a leap of faith to do this too, because I didn't know what this would be like at all. This is the first time I've ever done something like this.
The first time.
Thank you for making me feel comfortable.
Oh, you're very welcome. So this is the first time you've been interviewed
Yes.
talked about this is in a big publicer way.
The first time.
The first time. Usually
Yes.
you talk about this one-on-one.
One-on-one or in very small groups.
Very
Yes.
small groups.
Mm-hmm.
So you did great.
Thank you.
Yeah, so didn't she do great? Everybody clap. I'm none. Give us a clap.
Thank you, everybody.
You got it?
Thank you,
Hold on.
Marilyn.
We're going to clap. You got it? There we go. All right. Thank you all so much. Amnon, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so very much, Monty. It was a pleasure.
And a pleasure
And
for me,
you,
Marilyn.
And you are certainly authentic, and that's what I like. So thank you all so much. We'll see you very, very soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, My Life, My Will with Gisela DiCarlo, The Tanya Love Show, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Triangle Be Well with Howard Jacobson, Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Yisrael Cutler, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Current Affairs with Amnon Nissan. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.